My name is Eunice Mathis. I'm the owner and founder of Florida Training Academy. We are a CPR and CNA training company here in Jacksonville, Florida. I am a training center faculty member for the American Heart Association, which allows me to conduct trainer-trainer classes nationally and internationally. And one of our participants today is going to be Miss Karen. And Karen, if you can just introduce yourself and also the name of your business and pretty much the reason why you want to expand your current CPR training opportunities.
Hey, good morning. My name is Karen Ketchie. I'm a retired ER nurse of 25 years. And I'm looking to develop the CPR component of my business, Ketchie Consulting, and previously Disaster Management Consultants. It is historically focused on hospital training for mass casualty, decontamination, going into agencies and communities and helping them with emergency management response and preparedness. So that involves a lot of travel and international travel. And there are segments that I am at home. And unless I'm choosing to do recovery, which is deployment for months at a block, I'm choosing more to stay home where my deployments are measured in weeks versus months. So this is going to be a shift in my business model. And because of that, I am choosing to do CPR training in my community, which will keep me at home for longer periods of time.
We appreciate you. I mean, you were a wonderful, so it's not just that, you have all the safety and medical background, it's also your personality. So I look forward to mentoring you and working together. Do you have any of the national certifications, such as Woman Business Enterprise?
No.
Okay. So do you have a piece of paper? I want to provide you with a homework assignment. So that'll be one of the things, and we will be accountable to each other. I'm your accountability partner. I want to make sure that you actually, get that designation. So you want to be certified as a WBE, a woman-owned business enterprise. You already have government contracting experience, but in the local, in the city and state realm, that's going to give you a heads up, because as you're aware, most of our competitors are men. So we are unicorns in a male dominated industry. We're going around training people, saving lives, managing dozens of employees and instructors. How many employees or personnel do you supervise?
It's solo, just myself.
Wow. And so you go out and you provide the training, and then once the personnel is trained, they can operate independently of you?
Well, so let me back up. I have several folks that are 1099s for me. And so when I have a project that is, like, for example, Miami Children's Hospital training 10,000 employees of PPE, I will bring in my colleagues that I know that are on board with my training program, and those who I know that represent myself and my brand well, and that I will pay them 1099.
Understood.
So
I utilize
about 8 of those.
I utilize a lot of 1099 contractors also. It just, everyone's happy. It's not like they're stuck with me, 7 days a week. They get to come in, they provide a great service. I'll usually do same day or same week pay, depending on whatever they need. And then, so that's how I'm able to scale my business. Because if I need to, sometimes a local high school, a local private school, whenever they call for CPR training, they want 100 of their staff trained in 1 hour. Mm-hmm. So it is manpower, it is logistics, is creating all these training stations, and a lot of classroom management. So what is the largest class size you have taught?
Well, none for CPR.
Okay.
And for classroom, for going into certain segments and audiences of which we sit down, like incident command training, I would say would be the most formalized structure that I have to follow, representing a FEMA specified format, would be like a 30-2 ratio.
Okay. So in the packet that I provided to you, we're going to go over the agenda. And so again, thank you for registering for the CPR Instructor Business Development Workshop. You've already started your CPR training business. I'm so proud of you. How is the purchasing of the equipment going? Have you started that process yet?
I haven't. I have a colleague who is actually taking a break in the business, and due to times of moving for he and his family, he has offered to sell me his equipment. And so we're going to gather together and meet and do an evaluation of that and see if it fits my needs. Other than that, the next biggest step really, and it's a lot depending on this workshop and still in my exploratory phase in my own community as to, is this idea actually something I want to work forward? So it's actually still in the consideration, leaning towards it, yes. But if I'm going to invest in this, I want to do so having already gone through the SWOT process and whatnot, and I'm still in that phase.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully I can, because I whenever we get to the partnership page, I want one of the first partnerships you put down to be Eunice Mathis in Florida Training Academy, because I plan on utilizing you. I finally got my national minority business enterprise certification, national meaning that I can contract with a local company, but then if they have opportunities in other states, that I would also be considered. And so, of course, as you know, we can't do everything, but we also want to come home that same week.
Right.
So, there's going to be opportunities for both of us. So there's a lot of synergy, even though we're in the same city. I don't want you to ever think of me as a competitor, and or likewise, if you need something, my team and I will be there to support you, and hopefully your team will be, also there to support us. So your business structure, I know you're established, and you don't have to go into any detail, but do you feel that you have sufficient business credit?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Marketing.
And I'm an LLC.
Okay. Marketing strategies.
No.
What? All right. So we're going to start from the easiest, the least expensive marketing strategies. Have you claimed your Google My Business listing?
No.
Homework assignment. Go ahead and write that down. You're going to have to claim your Google My Business listing. And I've not gone to your business's website, but if you don't have a website, Google will provide you with a free website.
I have the Google business platform, such as it's the domain name, ketchieconsulting.com.
Okay.
And then I have, but I think what you're describing is something different, but I have a business platform by which I can add employees to it, and they can have the same domain name on their email.
Yes.
The designated business phone number, but I haven't done this piece that you're referencing.
Okay, so I'm going to see, and just bear with me because Google changes things, and they also change their platform. So I'm going to see if I can pull up my Google, my business profile. And I'm sharing my screen. Are you able to see it okay? And so for pretty much anything that I do, I have a Google My Business profile for it. And you can manage this from your phone. It's really easy to use. But this is the older platform. So if you ever log in and you don't like the look, see if there's an option to use the other platform. And here will be the website. I went ahead and I paid for FloridaTrainingAcademy.com, but this first one is the one that Google gave me, and that one was free. So Google will, if you input your information, Google will create a website for you based upon the pictures that you add.
Mm-hmm.
I am really big on branding. I put our logo on everything. And so that gives me an advantage, because anytime someone types in CPR, Google's analytics, their artificial intelligence they're looking at everything within that photo. And so it's really important that you are branding yourself. So even our testimonials, the bad testimonials, the good information, looks like I just updated something. So anything that I may post over here under post crosses over to the website. I receive calls via Google, and I also receive customer requests via Google, which is sometimes I don't like it because
Same.
if you don't respond instantly, Google like tracks how long it takes you to respond. And for some reason, people want to send messages at 2 a.m. And so it'd be like my response time, I try to keep it, less than 4 hours. But if someone's sending notes at 2 a.m. on a Sunday, I may not get to it until Monday. And so that lowers my response time. So they can call you, they can send messages, any photos that I've added. Of course, you're going to brand everything. And the way that I brand things is either with Canva. So for marketing, the easiest options would be Canva. Have you used that platform before?
Can you spell that word?
It is Canva. And everything's attached to your Google account. If you do Canva Pro, which is about, I want to say $20 a month, and I can send you a referral link, but I make my TikTok videos, I create my Facebook posts, I create everything on Canva, and then I share it on the various platforms. So yesterday I created a video, and it's 5 things to consider before opening a CNA or a CPR training company. You're thinking too small. Of course, I sell real estate, so my real estate ads.
Right.
Me selling my property, I create everything in Canva, takes a few moments, and I can also do that from my phone. And so that would be one of the cheapest marketing tools, because if you have extra time, you don't need to hire somebody to do your marketing. Your grandkids can do your marketing for you.
And the Canva Pro?
I have Canva Pro, yes.
Okay. Well, I have a 20-something-year-old who is a pro, so.
Very good, very good. I may have to network with him or her also. Right. So Canva would be one way to create your ads, and your social media platforms, if you could, delegate that to the 27-year-old pro. I have not done sufficient research on how to market a service business such as what we do on Instagram.
Okay.
But most of my market has been on Facebook. I'm just now getting into TikTok, but my market is also aging out. So how am I going to stay relevant? Even though I may sell the business, or I may take a lesser role at some point, I want to also ensure that, the business, the brand still lives on. And so the way to do that is to make sure I'm also interacting with younger customers, because they're going to be entering into these professional fields, and they're also going to need CPR. And they're going to end up being the decision makers in 10 or 20 years. And I want them to remember Florida Training Academy and or Ketchie Consulting.
Well, Florida Training Academy, that's just such a fantastic brand name. I applaud you for that. That is outstanding.
God-given. And then whenever God gives me ideals, I'll write them down, and then I'll know it's, a God-given ideal when I go to look up the social media sites, and all of them are available.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
was like, oh God, thank you so much. All right. So one was Canva for marketing. That would be one of the least expensive ways. And the other is to fully utilize your free Google My Business profile. If you do those 2 things, Karen, you are going to be ahead of probably 70% of the business owners who've had CPR training companies years before you.
Okay.
What other questions do you have about marketing your business?
So this is a question I posed to my CPA. And so from that fiscal aspect, I understand. My question was, so I have an LLC, Ketchie Consulting, and that's really just been, as it says, a consulting business, go in and support the various agencies, et cetera, et cetera. This is different. Nobody's going to go looking for CPR under Ketchie Consulting. right? And
So you can do a DBA, Ketchie Training. So a
so,
DBA, or if you don't want it under your EIN, just
so
start a whole new company.
he said he'd prefer it. My CPA said definitely put it under your existing
Okay.
EIN, and then but so branding and names. I mean, it's CPR, yes, but it will also be expanding safety training. It will be, as we talked a little bit about in some of the pitfalls in the class, however, with not only evaluating and testing their AEDs, but also the line item of selling them. So
Okay.
I did that historically, was quite successful at partnering a service line with a product line. And I plan to do that and begin to do that and expand as well. So I say all that to say, I hesitate to put CPR as the DBA training. Yeah, I don't know. So you kind of see where I'm going with my baby.
Yes, I do. And so even with the real estate opportunities now, because I realized that I have to have an LLC, whether it's because if I don't sell the property, I'm going to end up renting it out. And I don't want all that liability falling back to myself. So I'm probably going to end up with 5 different LLCs. But the liability alone is worth it because I don't want anyone trying to sue me directly. So I'm going to protect myself and protect my business. So with the LLC for real estate, that's going to be Eunice Mathis LLC. How original is that? That's what they require. Eunice Mathis LLC. But
Yep.
now for the actual property management part, renting out properties, etc., that is going to have to be an entirely different one. So I know it seems like a hassle, but you may have to end up with multiple LLCs if you don't find a universal name. Florida Training Academy is not a universal name. I could probably get away with doing business in Georgia. I can get away with doing business with the government. But if I go to Michigan and my company's called Florida Training Academy, I would probably not get any business. So I do have a DBA, and my DBA is Acuity CPR and Safety Training.
Mm-hmm.
I have multiple DBAs. So you can always go to DBA route, keep the one EIN. And of course, I know you're good with your record keeping, just keep good records. But think of a universal name. And once you think of a universal name, I actually researched the meaning of it. The last business development workshop I had, the person had already created their business name. And to me, it had nothing to do with CPR, safety, healthcare training. And it was way down in the alphabet. And I was like, why?
I make the customer have to look for you. Yeah.
Why? And so she, it took a while. We worked together. We found her a new name and the website. And so, but having the conversations now before you get started, but means that you would not be selecting a business name that starts with a W.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And if I could again make a recommendation, don't choose anything that has Florida. It can be global, it can be elite. I would try to keep the name within the alphabet range of maybe A through F.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions regarding your marketing?
No, so I mean, I know the priority in order of, do the name. Once you have the name, you need that first to begin the marketing plan and strategy.
And so let's talk about strategy. Majority of my students are either Google or referrals. That's where they come from. Okay. And then once they find me, because it's a lot of people who do what I do, and they may also do it for a lesser price, those credentials matter. People trust nurses. So I would highly recommend that you, for certain things, emphasize that you are a nurse if you have not done that previously. We work too hard for these credentials.
Good.
And if you could partner with a firefighter, a paramedic, or EMT, I partner with educators. I partner with a broad range of different professionals. Collaboration is key because they're going to be able to reach a market that I cannot reach. Paid advertisements, be careful with that because I rarely advertise on Facebook. I rarely do paid advertisement on those platforms. I did find good instructors off of those platforms. So I was able to find employees from and a 1099 instructor who already had previous training as a firefighter, and that worked out well. But as far as my advertising dollars, I don't think I get the most bang for my buck. I feel like I get a whole bunch of clicks, but the clicks do not cross over into actual student registrations. So you do want to be monitoring your analytics if you do actually pay for some type of marketing program via social media. And I probably spend about $300 a month in marketing.
$300 a month in marketing?
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so the next one, and you said that you already have this taken care of, is the building business credit. Took a while for me to do it, but I finally did it. And I previously, from my other real estate dealings way back in the day, I had filed bankruptcy, and on my personal credit, now on my business credit. And so I was listening to all these bankers and these people who have experience who was like, oh no, you can never get business credit. Then I finally got business credit. I was like, oh look, it wasn't even dependent on my personal credit. So now my personal credit is great and my business credit is great. And so I just try to make sure that most everything I do, of course, I pay it off within 2 weeks. I utilize my business lines of credit. Do you have an account with Navy Federal?
I have my business credit line is with Bank of America, their corporate account divisions.
Okay. If you ever need an additional stream, a line of credit, Navy Federal is quite generous.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so our SWOT analysis, our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. And I joke with a lot of people, but I am telling the truth, is that I am one of my greatest threats. Yeah. I train people and I train them really well.
Yeah.
So here it is. I'm creating my own competition, and I try not to look at it like that because American Heart Association doesn't have territories. As long as you get your classes pre-approved, if you're posting them to the public, you should, if you get them pre-approved, you go and teach your courses. If you're teaching to the government, then of course that's different. We'll talk about that separately, independently, individually. I don't expect you to send me a class list saying, hey, I'm going to go teach for the naval base in Brunswick, Georgia. I trust you. I know that you're going to do the right thing when you get there, because your brand and also your CPR instructor status is based upon how well you perform. So whenever you're thinking of your strengths, I'm going to ask that you write down a few of your strengths, and I'm going to do the same. So if you write down 3 strengths, and I'm going to write down 3 things that I also think are your strengths. I do want to backtrack. It was something you had mentioned earlier as a weakness, and I think you said it was your organization. I think you're great with organization, but you know better than I do. I want you to integrate processes, integrate technology. So like with our classroom management system, if someone orders an ebook and if I happen to have them in stock, it automatically sends them the ebook. That's less labor for me. It sends them reminders. So you think that I love you and I'm sending you all these emails. No, they're pre-programmed.
Who covered for our training day as a checkoff instructors? What was her name?
Brianna.
Yeah, she was fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
She was showing us that. I'm like, here I thought. She goes, oh no. She goes, you do this. She goes, Florida Training Academy uses this platform. She goes, there's several, but she was referring to you, has it all set up. So when you enter it once, everything else follows. Yeah, and I'm yeah, I have to do that.
Yeah, so classroom management, using technology for your email marketing. Your students are not going to remember where you are in 2 years, especially if you're mobile. But if you start sending them those reminders, I am annoying. 160 days, 380 days, 540 days, you're always getting some type of, hey, refer me to, refer a business or what have you. So I keep in communication with my students, my past students. Other processes that I have implemented to keep my business afloat, especially during the pandemic, was I have a remote receptionist. ever I hired the remote receptionist, I've gone through a few companies. And this last company I've been with now for at least a year. They're not double billing. All the charges are pretty consistent. I don't feel like I need to always follow behind them to make sure that, like one company took out $800 twice in one day. Thankfully, I had that much money in an account. For another small business owner, that would have been, problematic. None of my calls are missed, 7 days a week, 24/7. I get transcriptions. If a student has called twice, they're going to I'll put your name, for example, Karen Ketchie calls again with asterisks to make sure that I know that that person's a priority. So that would be something that I would really recommend so that you're not having to spend all your time on the phone.
The classroom management system, if I just Google that, how do I go about finding that?
We use Enrollware. Most American Heart Association instructors use Enrollware. Enrollware is one of the more expensive ones. It is usually they'll give you a trial period, but after the trial period, it is $100 if you have less than 100 registrations. So whenever you're doing your pricing, you want to add that into the price. So our CPR classes are anywhere from $70 to $75. So that means that $1 of that every time someone registers is going to Enrollware. If I have to go in and do administrative work, if I have to change your class, we have an inconvenience fee. We're going to charge you to go back and do that additional labor because we're going to be there. So I need you to make sure that if you schedule for a class, you're also there. So you want to be thinking about those policies, the rescheduling policies. If you reschedule twice, you forfeited your money. If I go out and I teach a corporate class and all their employees don't show up, I'm still charging you. I'm invoicing you. Most of our companies pay in advance. We have a few that do net 30 terms. Regardless, they do not get their cards until we receive our payment. Mm-hmm. And that helps keep them motivated to pay us. We're not going to get, the 90 days before we receive a payment because that means they don't have their certification cards. And so we had a 3-hour time frame. Looks like we have like an hour and 45 minutes left. And so sometime over the next 2-3 months, and we'll just do some mini check-ins. But as you know, with the classes that I teach, I always like to do a takeaway. So would you at least tell me 2 things that you will remember from today's 101 business development workshop?
You're kind of giving me a sense of I can achieve this. When standing on my own, before this, I wasn't confident that, not that I could or couldn't, but it's doable. And it's nothing to do with my drive, but is it, because the market space out there it's so big in this space. It's not like there's just a company or two. There is a lot of people in this space, and that concerns me. But what I hear from you is that go get the business and bring in and collaborate with my partners that I already have, like the Pauls and the Liz's, all these people who are like, yeah, I'm an instructor. Yeah, I'll go through the certification class for AHA instructor, and then you can call on me and I can go teach the class because I already know that they represent me well.
Yes.
And so
what I like to think of as a business owner is that I like to collaborate because 0% of 0 is 0.
Right.
I would rather make 25% of $1,000 and all I'm doing is, okay, I can't go out and teach this day. Would you go teach this? Here's the, because most of us have the remote door. So, here's the alarm, here's the code, go ahead and get this equipment and then bring it back within 24 hours. And so that works really well for me. And it allows me to go and teach in-house courses. And I have someone else who's versed on teaching those corporate courses. So you're not doing this alone. We just have to build your diverse team.
Yeah. And I think the second biggest thing is still not clear on, I know the mechanics of it because it's what we learned in class of how to perform the class. And I've been kind of working on that and doing it here, practicing. And so now I'll start practicing in front of some of my friends.
Yes.
and we'll do that. But it's the, 10 people sign up. Am I going to check all the boxes properly? But I have a lesson plan under the HA, the package. I know there's a lesson plan.
And then may I pause you for one moment? Family and friends doesn't require any of that. Family and friends is not a certification course. Family and friends, they don't have to get one light to flash on the mannequin. They're learning the process. You're building your confidence that they can actually help rescue someone. You're showing them how to help somebody who's choking. When all those rules come into play is when you're actually certifying someone, and that's when they need a video, etc. So my recommendation is that you learn the American Heart Association's videos like the back of your hand. I want you to always think that when you go to the class that the power is going to go out and that these people can't go to work tomorrow without their card. And if you can teach the basics, do a quick review, scene safety, adult compressions, integrating with breaths or the simulated breaths. Do the same for child, do the same for infant, talk about the AED, teach choking. If you can do that without a video and try to do it within 30 minutes for those family and friends courses, that is going to make you a much better instructor even when you have that video there. So I know you can do it.
Yeah, I think it's just the organizational aspects around it. Getting them signed up. I mean, because yours is such a well-oiled machine. Mine would be and until I get there. It's a lot of behind the scenes lift, as you know.
Well, let's talk about that. Your payment system. What are you going to use?
I have no idea.
So Square is awesome. I can send you a referral link for Square if you don't have anyone else who's going to send you one, but I think you might get $1,000 in transactions that don't have any transaction fees attached to them. So Square, PayPal, I am everywhere that my students are. What I don't accept are personal checks.
Right.
I will accept a business check. However, they do not receive their cards until the check is cleared. So, and you can send them a link. I'm thinking that there may be a Google Pay. I'm not familiar with Google Pay, but if you can integrate your Google Pay into your free Google My Business website.
So if we did let's talk about the scenario if you have a moment. Let's just talk about the scenario at the gym. Okay, so Jen, I'll go to her and say, all right, all right, let's talk date and let's just talk how many students. And I would even talk to her about for this year, like a multi-year approach. Jen, let's just get everybody on the Friends and Family CPR training program. And so this is what we're going to be training. There are no tests, right? There is no tests and whatnot, but neither are there. If you're looking for a card to check off a box, this is not that either, correct?
Exactly, that is correct.
So, and they're not looking for that. She's looking for the knowledge information, and then knowledge validation is what she's looking for.
So on our website, and I'll try to pull it up really quickly. Let me do our screen share. You know how cumbersome our website is, and it doesn't matter how much information we provide. Someone's like, hey, I don't understand it. So let me do it this way. FL training schedule. All right. So we try to list all of our prices on our website. And I'm thinking that if I keep scrolling down, even our Stop the Bleed course, which I don't advertise a whole bunch, but when I do. So here we have our free hands-only CPR class. Compression only CPR training. Knowledge only course does not result in a certification. And then if our students are registered, we would just have them attend a traditional course with the understanding that they will not receive a certification at the end. So we're not having two courses. We're not having a course that's knowledge only and then a class that's also for certification. If you need to copy any of the information from our website so that you can get your own wording, you're more than welcome to do so.
Wow, thank you.
You're very welcome. And so that would be my recommendation. I would not try to do a lengthy contract with family and friends, because sometimes when you deal with the public, they are not as nice And grandma's gonna want that CPR course. They don't care what emergency you've gone off to. It's like, she said she was gonna be here on December the 12th. So that would not be my focus. That would maybe be something that I offer once per month or maybe once per quarter. And then I would focus more so on those paid contracts, those paid opportunities. And then as far as you integrating, if you go to squareup.com, let me try to go back to my Google My Business page. I can list my services on my Google My Business page and also my products. I just don't know how to incorporate a payment on here, but I do try to list my prices. So you can use your free Google My Business page. And then when someone emails you, you can forward them the link that you created on Square for your payments. Try to avoid taking payments at the door unless you have a receipt book. Whenever I go to churches, I'll usually accept cash payments at the door, but that means that our class needs to start about 15 minutes before, or the registration process starts 15 minutes before my classes start. If someone arrives and my class has already started and they haven't prepaid, I still allow them to attend the course. It's just that I don't issue their card until payment's made. A lot of people are also comfortable with Cash App. You just want to be careful with that for taxation purposes, because if someone's sending you private money via Cash App, that could be seen as a business transaction. But a lot of the youth are going to be utilizing Cash App for quick money transfers, and I would recommend that you have that as an option also.
Okay.
Okay. So easy peasy.
So I set up the date. I get this registration. I download some of these Sign Up Genius things and utilize those. I get there an hour early, do the complete setup.
Yes.
Make everything's good to go.
And this is the end of our video. We do thank you for tuning in. Again, my name is Eunice Mathis with Florida Training Academy, and this is Karen Ketchie. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Hopefully you'll be seeing more and hearing more of her in the future. We're going to partner together and help save lives with the American Heart Association and with our various businesses. So Karen, thank you so much, dear.